For the next panel, this is a panel about sustainability. This is a discussion about municipal solid waste and the utilization of municipal solid waste to create jet fuel. So that is the focus of the panel, but it's generally about understanding how municipal solid waste can be utilized to create a sustainable economy. So with that, I'd like to introduce Edward Rodriguez. Edward is a CEO of a company that has put together this amazing technology that is using municipal solid waste and creating jet fuel. Along with him is Theo Radcliffe. If you guys have not really figured this out, he is an ex-Laker. So that should get everybody's attention. Okay, so if for nothing else, since you guys are all LA, you know, let's keep this going. So Edward, I'm going to ask you the first question and turn around and say, sustainability is a concept which people have talked about for a very long time, and sustainability is normally looked at as a benchmark of breaking even. But here you are creating something beyond sustainability, which is profit.
Yes, so pretty much my background is I'm a quantitative risk analyst, and how we went about getting into this project is we were hired by one of the large airlines here in US to structure a deal for them to create sustainable aviation fuel. Through that transaction, we learned how much sustainable aviation fuel was needed. That company alone needs about 3.2 billion gallons of sustainable aviation fuel a year. So after we finished structuring that deal, we asked them, what's your appetite? And they said, if you can make it, we'll buy it as soon as you make it. And pretty much from there, sustainable aviation fuel today is selling at about $12 a gallon. Lower benchmark is about $7.20. We're selling at $8.20. We already have a buyer that will buy from us for the next 100 years, pretty much.
That's an interesting economics, because when you look at comparatively, a lot of the sustainable fuel is generated from crops. So when you have crop-based fuel, that's allocating land which can be used to create food products and converting it to energy. In your case, you're using a very readily available resource which is currently completely neglected, which is hydrocarbon in municipal solid waste. So talk a little bit about plastic and about hydrocarbons and what you're doing and how this is going to impact environment, as well as the fact that you are having not only an effect on reuse, but also on reducing the use of fossil fuels.
So you hit it in the nail pretty much. The main reason some of the other groups that are creating sustainable aviation fuel fail is because they have to pay for their feedstock. So if you have to pay for feedstock, unfortunately, the project allows you to almost break even. Here we have a solution where we actually get paid to get our feedstock. And believe it or not, it was tough for us to get the partner to provide us the feedstock, because the garbage industry is very close and very tight, and if you don't have access to it, just good luck. But we were lucky enough, and we put the effort, and we have a partnership where we can, we already have a partnership where we're going to receive not only the feedstock that we need, the amount that we need, but the payment that comes with it. So for plastic, right now we're literally receiving about $200 per metric ton, and for sustainable aviation fuel we're receiving about $17 per metric ton. This is actually below average. So in the solid waste, on the municipal solid waste side, they're currently paying about $80 to $160 per metric ton when they take it to the landfill. Obviously, we needed to present them with something that makes sense for them to actually stop taking the garbage to the landfill and bringing it to us. Because at the end of the day, as you were saying, everybody running a business needs to make profits. That's exactly what we took to them. We took something to them that doesn't leave space for them to say no. After we got their attention, we made sure that we presented something that didn't leave space to say no. And pretty much because we make, just from the receiving the feedstock, the company makes close to $100 million a year. We have not even turned on the plants yet. Just from the municipal solid waste and the plastic partnerships we have today, we will be making around $100 million a year.
Which is an interesting model because, as I said, a lot of times when we look at sustainable biofuels, they are barely breaking even, as you said, and then not only that, but there's a lot of harm to the environment because then whether it's soy-based or corn-based or any other biofuels typically require land use, require fertilizer use, require contamination of all different kinds, not to mention water use, which is becoming the most scarce commodity of our times. So this is a very interesting example of where you take a sustainable concept and make it a return on investment. And you guys have shown that you have a model which makes it attractive for investors, which is one of the most important things, because until a company or a concept becomes investable, it is not really sustainable. It is still in that philanthropic range of it'll survive for as long as there is somebody who's willing to do a lot of work for not much profit. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Theo, and tell us a little bit about your journey. Tell us how you got involved in this, how you see this going forward, and what you learned in your playing career that you can convert into this new business venture.
Yeah, thank you. This is an awesome opportunity for myself. I played 16 years in the NBA, and that was my passion of playing basketball. And after I retired in 2011 from the Lakers, have you to know, I indulged in so many different opportunities in business, but I was always looking for a passion project and have an opportunity to get involved and have an opportunity to introduce Elwood, who's the right person, that a right part of the team that we needed in order to make this thing happen. It has been, a real passion project for me. If you guys don't know, it's 48 million tons of municipal waste being produced throughout the world each year, and only 5% is being recycled. That is very sad. That's a very sad number. And if we are, as a people, to make a difference in the green gases, the carbon that's going in the air, we have to find solutions. And that's why this became a passion project for me, because this is an opportunity to make a footprint, to leave a footprint that can grow even when we're gone, to help sustain the greenhouse gases that's affecting everybody around the world. So, and on the plastic side with the SFA, there's 8 million tons of plastic going in the ocean every single year. I mean, when you think about that, within 2050, that's going to be the equivalent of the amount of fish that's in the ocean and the amount of contamination that's going on. And that's why we partner with companies like Ocean Clean to help sustain and get rid of some of that plastic, because the way a lot of the companies have been getting rid of plastic, as they've been saying they have been using it as a recycling, they basically just been putting it in the landfills. And that's a big problem. And with the mandate of 2050 that the UN has with doing the zero carbon, it's a big initiative that we're taking on to be a part of being a solver for those type of problems.
Thank you. That's wonderful to hear. And I think that, when you say footprint, I think that it's important to understand that it's a legacy project. It's something that will leave behind something that future generations will be thankful for. Um, but it's not just a U.S. problem, right? It's a global problem. You know, we have, you know, one of as we know, one of the easiest solutions for developed countries has been to ship garbage to underdeveloped countries or developing countries and make it their problem. And this is part of the reason why we have Garbage Island in the Pacific, right? Because if you ship it to somewhere, they don't have any recourse for it, so they're going to just dump it into the ocean because that makes sense. So tell us a little bit about your global initiatives, and then I'll turn that to you.
Yeah, so pretty much, I happen to, in the past, be a UN diplomat, and I spend a lot of times working mainly in the education side with the UN. And through that, I had a lot of reports from our research that they've done, and I piggyback from that research. And it's like Theo was saying, it's in, like you just said, it's a worldwide problem. Now, thankfully, we have a similar demand on the SAF side, right? So on the SAF side, even if we wanted to today, in the next 100 years, we can solve the problem. They need too much sustainable aviation fuel, right? And in the garbage side, we're turning garbage into energy. So again, we truly wanted to create a 360 economical project where everything we take, instead of having something that will not be recycled, we're recycling everything. So today already we have a deal with the country of the Dominican Republic where they're donating the land, no taxes for the next 15 years, and we have a profit sharing agreement with them. We have 7 other countries that we are in negotiations with. And again, we have in the countries that we go in, the new countries that we go in, well, they provide us the garbage. They provide us the plastic. Now, here in the US, there's a huge landfill deficit. And even though not a lot of people talk about it, look at the problem of New York. Over 70% of the garbage in New York is sent to Ohio. It costs an arm and a leg to do that. It's very expensive for them to do that, right? What's the problem? Well, they don't have any more landfill space that's permitted for them to do it. So they have to end up sending it to other states. That's going to happen to every single state in the next 15 to 25 years. These solutions pretty much cancels out the need to be able to send the garbage to other non-developed countries. Because at the end of the day, even though we may think, hey, they're going to find a way to get rid of it, yeah, not really. Because at the end of the day, they have the same problem. If you bury it, you're going to have to deal with the gases that come from of it. Now, the easiest fix is putting it in the ocean, and then it floats around wherever the wind takes it. So we have created a solution where we're looking for landfill operators today throughout around the globe, and we're sitting with them and we're saying, listen, we don't want to be your competitor. Let us come in, we'll invest the infrastructure. You make more money than what you make today. You stop paying literally the ton of fees you pay the EPA for those here in the US. You're not going to need to pay them anymore because they all go away. We're literally palletizing the garbage, we make it into little balls, and we turn it into energy. And we're taking the plastic and turn it into sustainable aviation fuel. And this is a worldwide project. I mean, every country that decides that our solution works for them, we're going to work with them. And we already, aside from the US, we already have agreements with the Dominican Republic, and we have 7 other countries that we are in open conversations with.
Yeah, municipal solid waste is certainly a global problem, right? But the fact that Western countries have been contributing to developing countries a waste that they have no traditional means of getting rid of, that they have no experience in getting rid of, without any technology to go along with it, has been one of the worst problems, not to mention that the shipping itself creates its own environmental havoc. So whether you're shipping your garbage from New York to Ohio, or you're shipping it to to China or to Vietnam, you are using fossil fuels to ship the garbage, which means there's more pollution involved. So it's one of those solutions where I think that your technology suite that you have put together, and that you keep constantly improving, and that you're accepting more and more technology into, is a landmark for how sustainability can be achieved where it has a true return on investment. But tell me a little bit about the investment journey. How difficult has it been to sell your concept? Because being able to say this to a crowd that's maybe had a drink or two sounds a little bit better, but when it comes to bankers, bankers tend to look at numbers.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier when I started the conversation, my background is I'm a quantitative risk analyst, right? So we have not received any outside investment. All of the investment within the firm have been from ourselves. The board, we proved out the tech, we proved out the concept. There is already units operating, one in Bulgaria, some others in Dubai, some in India. So all of the tech has already been proved out. I've built a financial structure in 2019 for a life insurance company that was used with JP Morgan. I requested for JP Morgan to allow me to use the same financial structure. We already got approved to do it, which allows us, to give you an example, we'll take the money in from investors, we put it into that financial structure with JP Morgan, and while we are developing the plan, we can pay investors about 3.5% interest on their money until we finish the development. Now, aside from that, we can borrow against that from JP Morgan at a 99% leverage, at about half a point more expensive than we're making from the financial structure. But that interest we pay at a half a point higher, 73% of the interest is tax deductible. So at the end of the day, we'll make about 8.4% on our money, having access to deploy and do what we need to do in the project and give our investors money back. One of our manufacturers is investing 20% into what we're doing. All of the manufacturers had to partner with us because the technology is so expensive that if we didn't work to get a partnership with them, the numbers don't make sense. Now, when we show them how much money, and not just show them, literally walk them through what we're doing, they understood that having a partnership with us sets them to literally make 10 times more money than what they would have made if they keep selling 1 to 2 units a year. Because their tech is between $60 to $70 million per plant. There is no solution today operating at mass scale to solve this problem. This is the first solution that could actually operate at mass scale available to humanity, where you can invest and the numbers still make sense. So we have the financial structure with JPM. We have 20% coming from the manufacturers. And Theo, myself, and the board has invested all of the funds that we needed to take the project to where it's at to prove the concept. We invested that money. We're currently raising 160 million, and we need 102 million to complete the whole project. 640 million out of that is debt. And we're already in conversations with three institutions. One of them I actually have underwritten for in the past to be able to get the debt. I'm going to go after best terms and obviously for the long-term partner that we can work with.
Yeah, it's a investment into what is essentially proven technology and providing a global solution is certainly very attractive to all ESG impact investors. But in reality, if you are doing what you're doing, and the impact that you're making is going to be exponential. As countries and as companies that are in the municipal solid waste side of it utilize your technology, the more they will understand the value that it creates, not only on the financial side, but also on the impact side of it. And so I think that in general, this is one of the best technologies that I've come across in a very long time. And we've looked at municipal solid waste in many different directions, and incineration being the primary one, which of course, even with the most efficient ones, which are being used in Scandinavia and in Japan, there is a carbon footprint, and there is a impact on the environment. So being able to not only utilize a percentage of municipal solid waste, but also at the same time reduce use of fossil fuels in jetliners is amazing to me. And I think that this is one of the best projects that I've seen. And I thank you guys for sharing it with us, because it certainly is one of those situations where we look at and say, why didn't somebody put this together before, right? But here you guys are, you have actually put it together. And I'm proud to say that that we are happy to provide any support that we can, and we will work with you to see what we can do to help you. And coming back to Theo, your concept of footprints, I'm gonna say a part of a poem from H.W. Longfellow. It's called "The Psalm of Life," and the stanza I'm going to say is, lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. And that is exactly what you guys are doing. So thank you again very much, and thank you for the audience for this. Is there a question from the audience? Anyone? Since I can't see most of the audience.
I think it's always a private discussion.
Yeah, okay, so all right. So then we will take it from there. Thank you again very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.